Thank you for Patreon now for donating to the Patreon.
Hey guys, Vanity is back on Cardfight Vanguard, as on the Vanity weekly reviews. We do a comment swipe, let's start, shall we? This time we're covering some neat reveals from Chaos, which I think is an amazing reveal we have for him with the new Mikani. We finally have a piece of Graham Grace support, which is sadly a promo, which makes me think Graham Grace is not getting any support in set 8, outside of generic cards. And then we have some pretty good stuff, followed by... I think it's Thegria we're getting today. I don't remember. I know we're getting Maelstrom Thursday, but I think today might be Thegria. So let's go and get started, shall we? First up, we have Acrobat Urselgite. That is definitely pronounced wrong. Grade 3 jump around 13k base. Auto was placed on rearguard from your soul by the ability of your Vanguard of Lukia and its card name. Soul boss 1 counter charge 1. Okay. Right side, this is a grade 3 that gets benefits from being called from soul by Lukia. Downside, and also counter charges. Downside, it costs more soul, and in my opinion, Lukia is a very, I guess, soul-focused deck to where, yeah, you can build your Lukia deck to where you get a lot of good soul amount, or you could just build it like I do, where you have the bare minimum soul, but this deck still hits like a fucking truck, because you have more stuff based on power than soul charging. Now, your Selgi here, her ability will really only come in helpful if your opponent damage starves you, because, you know, that's just how it goes. Because I don't run her, instead I run a different counterblaster, which means I have more options to call from soul, but I have less counterblast to work with, and yet somehow the deck still is deadly as fuck, because now I have 2 different ways to get 4 cards called out from Soul for Rising Dragon's effect. The grade 3 and the order. So yeah, you can run her if you want if your deck really runs into counterblasting problems, but mine does, and I still don't have good enough reason to run her, so 2 of if you choose to run it. And then we have Spear Knight of Excitation Rimsvito. Grade 275k shield, 10k base. Auto is retired from your rearguard guard stroke. If your Vanguard is a goodie, you may put him to soul. Okay. This only really works out for Tamir, because Tamir is the only fucking... Actually, wait, no, he might... I just remembered, set 8's getting another fucking Dragon Empire line. I don't know if it's going to have glitter or not. Based off art outcry, it's not going to, but, I mean, it might end up working with Tamir, but it probably won't have glitter. But, you know, if this is meant to be solely for Tamir, I said this is probably, like, a shitty card, because, yeah, it gets you more soul for Tamir, but, like, half the time, especially now with, like, the 2 Ramimis and 2 Rimimis, you're more likely going to call just 1 Ramimi or Rimimi rather than just call this. I mean, if you want to run this, go ahead and run it as a 2-of, but I see no genuine reason to run this. And then we have Diverse Beastmaster Onoratio, or Onoratio. Grade 275k shield, 10k base, continuous rearguard. During turn, if your soul has 8 or more different card names, he, she, it, they get boost and plus 5k power. And if it's continuous rearguard or guard circle, it gets 8k if you still have 8 or more different cards in soul, intercept, and back row. Finish stuff from back row and 5k shield. So I do like this card. It's been doing work in my Chaos deck, you know, being a 10k interceptor during the opponent's turn from back row and a 15k booster during my turn. And honestly, it works out amazingly because I can intercept from back row, and the amount of times that has actually come in handy is fucking amazing. I like this card a lot. It does a lot of good things for Chaos. Sadly, I don't run it as a 4 because, you know, different names for Chaos, but it's a nice 3 of tech in a Chaos deck because it's just good. I mean, you can also run it outside of decks that aren't specifically Chaos, but the chance of you having 8 or more different card names in decks that aren't Chaos are very doubtful. So 3-of-1 to ratio. Then we have Breakthrough Mikani, or as I like to call it, Broken Mikani, because this Mikani, in my opinion, fixed every problem Chaos had except for 1. My issues with Chaos are this. 1, if a Mikani ends up in Soul, you're essentially fucked unless you find a way to get it out via, yes, Barney, but if you're mean, you don't run her, then effectively you can't use it, and not to mention the fact there's also the Order, which could get it out, but again, like, you have to pay counterblast for those. This one does it for free. So first up, Auto, when it's placed on rearguard, you may soul charge 1, which is great, because it's not a mandatory soul charge, so you may, and you don't have to if you don't want to, but it increases your soul count, and then act rearguard if your Vanguard is a grade 3 or greater, put this unit to your soul, choose up to 1 grade 3 card with Mikani's card name from your soul, and call it to rearguard circle, which is great because now if your Mikani does end up getting sent to soul, you can easily just fetch it out, and it doesn't have to be its the real grade 3 Mikani. You can make it itself, so you can kind of just loop its skill by soul charging 1 based on how its wording is worded, so that's fucking great, unless that's just worded wrong from the Japanese text, but that seems like how it is worded. So, and then Glitter skill with Chaos, continues soul, when you would count the amount of cards with different card names in your soul for your card's ability, all breakthroughs in Mikani count as having different names. I mean, you can have all 4 of these in soul, and they will count as 4 different cards. And that is amazing, because another issue I found with Chaos is that if you end up having too many different names, or too many of the same names, it ends up fucking you over. And I really do like how they made this a thing, because I know a lot of people, like, just fucking, like, increase their amount of one-ofs to, like, some ungodly extent where everything in the deck is a one-of, or almost everything in the deck is a one-of. And I hate seeing that. It just seems so fucking wrong to me, and especially because I didn't do it, and my Chaos deck works perfectly fucking fine. Like, it either hits the 13 soul amount, or just doesn't hit 13 soul at all. Like, that's literally how my Chaos deck worked before and after this. It's either I hit the 13 soul, and I have the 13 different names, I just don't hit the 13 soul flat. So it doesn't really matter to me, but I guess to everyone else it fucking does. But good, there for the people that fixed it. It's 4 different names now, so that's a free 4 cards plus your Rideline, so a free 7. And not to mention the fact you can get a great Mikani from Soul. All around, I like this card. Gets free Soul Charge if you want to, gets a Mikani out from Soul, and counts as different names. If you don't run this at a 4 of in your Chaos deck, you are crazy. Then we have the promo for Graham Grace, which is Soaring Blade Knight Fernbael, grade 3 to 90%, 13k base, auto back row rear guard center. I know it's Graham Grace because it calls to back row center, but did it have to be that specific? At the end of the battle, this unit attacked. If your opponent's vanguards are grade 3 or greater by soul blasting 1 and discarding 1, choose one of your vanguards Graham Grace and discard him to end up turn against plus 10k power and 1 drive. Whew! The amount of times I would have died to, well, not the amount of times, the one, actually no, never mind, I would have been fine in that game, never mind. Point is, just the 10k to drive is great, getting that extra boost on Graham Grace, because now this thing is swinging for 23, it goes to soul, so it replaces itself. I mean, you have to use its skill first, so pay the soul boss cost for Graham Grace, and then it goes to soul for Graham Grace, so technically just replace itself, and you replace the draw too, and the Vanguard's also getting triple drive and 10k out of it. What's not to love about this thing? I do wish it was from the set, because then that would guarantee Graham Grace is getting support in set 8, but I can understand why they're not getting it support, especially because Graham Grace is a double rare, but whatever. It's still a good grade 3 nonetheless. It's an obvious like 3 or 4 of in a Graham Grace deck, but you know, I kind of wish this was just from the set, one, so it's easier to get, but also just because, you know, it gives us warning that Graham Grace is actually going to get support in set 8. Then we have Tier Knight Emilios, grade 1 boost 5k shield, 8k base, auto when he's placed on rear guard with another grade 1 or less rear guard, soul blast 1, draw a card, and then he gets plus 5k for the turn. Okay, very specific, because nothing else to my memory requires you to have grade 1 or less rear guards on your board for Stoic Chaos, so interesting that it requires that, but cool. Draw a card and 5k. It's not bad. And it's a double rare too, so I'm assuming this is meant for Maelstrom, but I wouldn't say this is a good card, like, for anything. Like, Zorga, I could see it, because half the time when I play Zorga, I definitely have more than enough grade 1s for this, but Flagberg, you're only really in the situation if you're really that fucked over, because none of the grade 1s can stand on their own except for High Rate, and he only does it for the first battle, and he gives it to someone else, you have to have another rear guard to begin with. And then there's Magnolia, which focuses more on grade 2 spamming, so, you know, Emilios is not bad, but, like, I don't know, I feel like Flagberg is going to be able to make this. Or it might just be for fucking Maroa, and I can't tell the difference between Maroa and whatever other fucking Stoic deck there is, but cool. We'll make this a 2 of, I guess, if you want to run it, but I don't see the point of this, especially in Maroa. I don't think Maroa needs this at all. Then we have Coexistence Dragon. This grade 3 turn persona at 13k base has made for fucking Thegria, which looks amazing, and sadly is not a main grade 3. And continues deck or rear guard circle. If your vanguard's a glitter, he gets plus 5k power and minus 1 drive, active on both players' turns. Okay, what I've gotten from this is they took that one alt mile card, I think his name was Glenzend, where if you're in Brave, he's counted as a grade 2 in deck, and on swing gets plus 4 if you're in GB1. They just upped the power by 1 and then made it so you don't have to be in Brave, but it gave you a glitter restriction instead. It's not bad. It's a free 18k during both players' turns, and it works with Light Thegria because it's counted as a grade 2, so you can call it from her skill, but I don't really know what to say about this. Run this if you need power, I guess. 2 of at most. No reason to go past that.
And okay, everyone, it's time to go over the last few cards. First up, we have Trapeze Actress, grade 2 at 5k shield, 10k base. Auto is placed on rear guard, counts Soul Blast 1. Choose one of your vanguards with Luke and his card name, and she gets plus 5k power down of turn. And then Auto, when she's put on guard circle, if you have a vanguard with Luke and his card name, Soul Blast 1, she gets plus 5k shield, 10 of turn. So she pretty much the same card back and forth on shield and vanguard. I think it's fine. Works as a decent grade 2 for defensing and offensing. Not really my taste for Luke here, because I don't think she needs this, but oh, it's the vanguard that she gets the 5k. But either way, I think she works fine. She adds power, she adds shield value. Maybe a 2 of tech and Luke here. Then we have Universal Angel, grade 1 boost, 5k shield, 8k base. Auto is discard from your hand during your turn. If your vanguard's a glitter. Counterballs 1 to draw a card. Okay, not the best Rideline discard fodder, but you know, at least they're trying something new with free draws, but then again, it's also counterballs to draw, so could be better, but whatever, it's fine. Especially because it's restricted to glitter, so we'll go 2 over 3 of if you choose to run it. Then we have my biggest disappointment, not because of her skill, because I haven't read her skill yet, but that is Pink Moth Girl Maple. Grade 1 boost 5k shield 8k base. Now you have to know, this is my favorite in terms of art. My issue is, Why are they making it so all the fucking glitter cards are grade 1s now? Mikani turned into a grade 1, Ramimi and Rimimi turned into grade 1s, Maple turned into a grade 1, and the only one that didn't at this point was Red Lena, and we don't even know what the fuck Obscura is gonna do, but based off history, he's gonna turn into a grade 1 too. Anyways, Maple, auto drop zone when your grade 3 or greater Vanguard is placed during your turn. If you Persona Road this turn and you do not have a Maple on rearguard, you may call this card to rearguard, and if you call this, you get plus 5k power till end of turn. Okay, plus sides, you can call 2 Maples at once if you Persona Road, and that's pretty much it. It's not bad, especially because we just got a card that can trigger Persona Ride, spoilers, but the fact that you have to be a Persona Ride to do this is kind of restricting, though I understand why, considering other Maple was so good and generic that you could basically just use as ride deck discard fodder, so, okay, fair enough. And then Glitter Thegria, auto back or rear guard, when your unit in the same column as this unit stands, you may stand this unit, and if you do at the end of the turn, retire it. Okay, in my opinion, this is like the worst one. She's not bad, don't get me wrong, because you know, with Thegria restanding, that means you can restand a rear guard column, or you can restand the vanguard column with her, because she works with any unit, and she still gets plus 5k and can be called. The issue is, she has to be specifically called when you Persona Road, and not to mention the fact that something in your unit column has to stand, and both units only stand if you have another Thegria in Soul, which isn't that bad with the new order, but still. So don't get me wrong, Maple is good. I do genuinely like her skill, and I like her art a lot. She's my favorite in terms of all of them. But she's, in my opinion, the worst one, especially when we have Mikani, where in my opinion, Mikani like fixed every problem the deck has, or at least every problem I had with the deck except for one, which was hand cards. Maple, in my opinion, didn't really fix the problems as much as she just like added something else to the deck that wasn't really necessary yet. So take that as you will, that's my opinion on Maple, but she's still a good card nonetheless, so you shouldn't run her less than 4 of. And then finally we have our order, and that is Gratiase Gradal Normal Order. Finally, we're getting a fucking Regalia order. So as you see, grade 3 Regalia, so this will count towards your glittering of the vanguards. Regalia's Piece, you may only have one Regalia's Piece in your deck and only use it a total of 1 time in a fight. Play this card if you have a grade 3 Vanguard with Persona Ride and you do not Persona Ride this turn, activate Persona Ride. So, essentially, once per game, if you have not Persona Road yet, Persona Ride is great. I mean, okay, we're not Persona Road yet, but if you have not Persona Road that turn that you use this, you can Persona Ride. Great. This, in my opinion, feels like it's gonna work a lot fucking better in Thegria. I don't know why. Maybe this little thing right here with the Persona Ride shenanigans, but the fact that it can just trigger Persona Rides is fucking great, because that adds numbers. Then again, I know this isn't gonna trigger for Thegria specifically, but I do know one specific set 8 deck this thing will break, and I'll give you a hint. It starts with Graham and ends in Grace. That's all for this one. I hope you guys enjoyed. All around, these cards are really good. I do like them a lot. My personal favorite is, in terms of art, this. In terms of skills, it's either you have to go to this or it's going to have to go to Mikani, who is somewhere up here. So I'm ending here. I hope you guys enjoyed. Don't like, subscribe, Discord, follow Twitch. And the next one, we will have Maelstrom. So see you all then. Don't forget to stand up your vanguards.